Happy blissful day to you, and how are you feeling today? And in today's video, I want to share with you how to live from the end of your wish fulfilled, how to remain faithful to your wish fulfilled. So you are clear in what it is you want. Now you need to remain faithful to your wish fulfilled, right? So before we get into the video, I just want to remind you that we have a lot of free coaching resources. And if you're an entrepreneur and you feel stuck mentally and you feel stuck financially, you can book a free mindset clarity call with us where we'll do a full mindset diagnosis to find out exactly why you are stuck. Because remember, you as an entrepreneur are supposed to thrive and not to survive. That's right. You're supposed to thrive and not survive, especially if you know about the law of assumption. Because the law of assumption is a superpower. So you want to harness this power. That's right. So let's get into the video. Now, you are clear in what it is you want, correct? That's right. Now, your job is now just to remain faithful to your wish fulfilled, to your desire. So the law of assumption is simple. All that is required from you is just to assume that you already have your desire. In other words, you just have to assume that you are now the person who has your desire. So let me give you an example. So when I manifested my wife, I was first single. I was single, and I told myself, okay, you know what? I'm ready for not just a relationship, but for marriage. So I told myself, okay, I'm going to use the law of assumption to manifest marriage. So what I did, I just quickly did a list in what I wanted in a woman, just to be clear. Okay. And then afterwards, I then assumed that I was the blissful married man. So I assumed that I was already blissfully married, even though I did not see my wife in the 3D, right? I did not see my wife in the 3D, but I assumed that I was already married. So for 3.5 months, I lived as though I was already married, even though the 3D said, no, you're crazy, you're single. I knew that there's only one reality, and the only real reality is my imagination, my mind. So all I did was just lived as though I'm already married in my mind. I made sure that my inner conversations were aligned with my new desire, and the way I used I ams was in line with my new desire. So to give you an example, sometimes I would go for walks on the beach, go on hikes, go to restaurants, and I would see all the couples, and then I would feel like, I feel like a little bit lonely. But then I reminded myself that I'm already blissfully married, and I would just feel into that state, and then afterwards I would go about my business. And then 3.5 months later, boom, my wife showed up. And I knew exactly that she was my wife because of the list that I made. I made a list in what I actually wanted in a woman. And then when I wanted to manifest $1 million in my telecoms business, I had to remain faithful as though I was already a $1 million business owner. And I did that for 9 months. And within 9 months, boom, I achieved my goal. So now, to give you an idea, during the 9 months, I felt like, nah, man, how is this going to happen? I don't actually see it. The 3D told me that you haven't yet made a million. You haven't yet made a million. The 3D showed me that. But I had to remind myself in the real world, remember, the only real reality is your imagination, your mind. So I constantly have to remind myself, I'm so happy and grateful that I have now made a million. I'm so happy and grateful that we have now reached a million. Isn't it wonderful that we have now reached a million? And I remained faithful. And I pretended that I already made a million. When I would look at my statements, my bank statements, my financials, I would see the million there and just really sit with it until I felt like, okay, no, this feels real. And I did that for 9 months. And then boom, within 9 months, we finally, made a million in our coaching business. Sorry, in our telecoms business, right? So now the reason why I'm sharing these examples, with you, because it's very important to understand when you have a desire, you have to live from the state as though you already have your desire. So now, for example, if your desire is $10,000, you have to live as though you already have $10,000. Your inner conversations has to be aligned. The way you use I am has to be aligned as well, because you have to understand I am is the self definition of God. I am is the name of God. And everything after I am is a declaration. So, in other words, if you say, I am weak, I'm feeling tired, I'm broke, I don't have money, I can't afford it, you declaring that, you saying that you can't afford it, you're in lack, you're weak, you this, you that. You have to be careful. How do you use I ams? Now let me ask you a question. How did you use I ams yesterday? Comment below and share. Be honest and tell me, how did you use I ams? Did you say I can't afford it? It's too expensive. I am waiting for my results. I'm going to try a new technique. I'm going to try a new method. I'm going to. How did you use I ams? Because you have to understand, I am is the self definition of God. I am is the name of God. If you say, I am rich, done. You say, I am wealthy, it's done. You say, I am prosperous, it's done. The moment you've declared that you are wealthy, prosperous, and abundant, all you do is just live from that place now. So your goal is $10,000. Now you have to make sure that you live as the person who already earned $10,000. So if you tell me and you tell yourself that you have now manifested $10,000, you can't go on tomorrow and act as though you broke. And if you have to, if you look at something and you think into yourself like, oh, I can't afford it, it's too expensive, then what are you doing? What are you doing? You just like literally just um, bombing everything now, because now you're actually telling yourself that you don't have the $10,000. A person that has $10,000 in their account will not say that I can't afford it, it's too expensive. No, they can afford whatever they want. They can buy whatever they want. So you have to be conscious of your inner conversations. How many times are you using I can't afford it, I can't, it's too expensive? People that usually say it's too expensive, I can't afford it, are in lack. Now, the reason why I know is because I've been there. That used to be my favorite phrases, but I don't use that anymore because I know that I can afford anything I want. Why? Because I am one with Source, I'm one with God, and God is infinitely wealthy. So if God is wealthy, I'm also wealthy. I can afford anything I want, I can buy anything I want. So now you have to adapt the same mindset. If you keep on saying, I can't afford it, it's too expensive, I can't, you're telling yourself that you are in lack, and you're going to struggle and struggle and struggle. You have to change your inner conversations. You have to live as a wealthy person. I don't mean that you have to, like, go out and spend frivolously and, no, 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 no. What do I mean is that when you see something that you like and you desire, and for example, let's just say you do not have the money. So you know that the only real reality is your mind. So you can see in your mind that you already have 100,000, and you can tell yourself, of course I can afford it because I'm already wealthy. I'm already abundant. There's only one real reality, that's your mind. If you see $10,000 in your mind now, it's done. It's a done deal. Now, the reason why a lot of people are struggling is because they don't, number one, believe in themselves. And they don't believe that their imagination is the only real reality. They rather seek validation and approval from the 3D. They rather look at their bank account and say, no, 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 I can't see it. Your bank account is just a reflection of your mind. Why would you even like seek validation and approval from your bank account? If you see $10,000 here in your mind and you remain faithful, your bank account will reflect that because it's the law. It is the law, you know. So, to recap, you are now clear in what it is you want. Now, your job is to remain faithful. And how you remain faithful is by making sure that your reactions are congruent with your desire. So if your goal is $10,000, after this video, you can't now act as though you are broke and you're in lack. No, you have the $10,000. It's done. Manifestation is not a process, it's instant. If you say you have it, you have it. It's done. Time is an illusion. There is no time in your imagination. There's only now. If you say you have it, done. If you say that you are in Barbados, you are, and you win first class. That's right. So don't get carried away with time. Time is simply just an illusion, it's a trickster. You should know that you already have your desire now and remain faithful to that and stick to that. And don't be wishy washy. You cannot serve two masters. You can't tell me that you have your desires and then later on you act as though you don't have your desires. You complain, you seek, you search for the new method, search for the new technique, search for the new YouTube video. No, you don't need to search for anything because you are what you are seeking. So there's a new method coming up. Oh, now you're going to try the new method. No, you are what you seek. You are what you seek. You have to accept that you already have it and live from that place. See, a lot of people do not trust that their imagination is the real reality. They think it's Mickey Mouse, it's child's play. Let me tell you, if you test, you just test. This is what I tell all my clients. I say, listen, test. Just test that your imagination is the real reality. And then they do test it. They see that, oh my God, wow. There's no coincidence because what we do with our clients, we usually have them do a daily manifestation list. And we say that just write down a few things, 5 to 10 things a day, and see what happens. For example, I saw a purple Tesla. It rained for 5 minutes. I saw a rainbow. I received a compliment. I received a free drink. And then, boom, they start seeing all these things just showing up. Now, you know what that does? It boosts their belief and their trust. And now they can see that, oh my God, my imagination is the real reality. It is God. It does create. And now all of a sudden, they believe and trust in themselves. But now a lot of people do not believe in trust in themselves. They rather believe in trust in the 3D. The 3D is just a mirror. The 3D is showing you what's in your mind right now. The 3D is just reflecting your mind. Why would you believe in the 3D? It's like me trusting the mirror. The mirror is only going to show me what I have on right now. If I want the mirror to show me something differently, I have to go inside the closet, change, and then go back, and the mirror will then reflect the change. All you need to do is just go inside your closet, accept that you have it, live from it, make sure that your inner conversations are incongruent with this new desire, and watch what happens. Just watch what happens. Beautiful thing. So I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself. I believe in you. What I'm suggesting is give your imagination a chance. Test your imagination and be amazed. And just again, if you're an entrepreneur and you feel stuck mentally and financially, you can book a free mindset clarity call and let's find out exactly what's keeping you stuck. Having said that, keep smiling, enjoy your blissful day, and I'll catch you in the next one.